Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamerside. This is Driftwood speaking again. These days, I've had a lot to tell you, and today is a very special day because I'm finally allowed to give you my verdict on Gran Turismo 7. And it's a really happy moment for me as I'm old enough to remember the release of the first game back in 1997, and yeah, it was a big thing at the time. The game looked amazing. The cars looked so realistic. The fake reflections, they may have been fake, but they did the job back then, and it was really something else. And yeah, that's why it's become such an iconic franchise for Sony. And I have to say, I was a bit disappointed that GT Sport, what it was, it was more about the online component, and even though they added stuff for the single player month after month, it never really was a true Gran Turismo game for me. And it's really nice to see that this episode, Gran Turismo 7, one with a number, is actually a true new episode in the series, and I don't think fans will be disappointed in the content, as you'll see. I'm going to try to be as thorough as I can, but just expect me not to be able to cover everything because I want to keep it very short. Also, as usual, I've run into several technical issues, and I didn't have as much time as I thought I would, as I'm leaving on vacation, and I had to finish this before I was going to leave. So yeah, there was some pressure. So content-wise, and talking about gameplay too, the funny thing is that the game starts when you launch the game the first time. You start with the musical rally, which is a very odd thing, as it's sort of an arcade racer where you have to pass the different checkpoints, but instead of seconds you have beats, and the beats go with the music, obviously. And the music actually is a medley of classical music pieces, very well known, and it's a very strange mode, but I actually like it very much. And I'm just a tad disappointed that there aren't that many tracks, and I mean tracks in terms of circuits, and also music tracks to play with. Once you're done with that, you're introduced with the new world map, where you'll be able to do a lot of things. Obviously, everything the first Gran Turismo games did back then, but also all the new features that have been added, in the course of the 25 years. And the cafe is the place to be. It's the main attraction here, and it's going to guide you through the single player campaign. You don't have to do it, but I would recommend you do, because Luca is going to propose different menus to you, and each menu will require you to, for example, get 3 cars of the same category, usually from the same manufacturer. And you don't need to pay for these cars. That's the great thing. Luca will open special events where, if you provided you finish at least third in the race, you're going to be able to get the cars. And then you go back to the cafe, and then he allows you to take another menu, and this time maybe it's a track you have to compete on, or a championship, and so on and so on. So the thing is, you actually win a lot of cars, and in the 24 hours of gameplay I've had time to give, and I would say that I bought the first car that I had to buy, and then maybe 1 or 2 more, but the rest, and I actually have gotten quite a lot of them, I've just won. So a bit like in Forza Horizon, just a bit more modest maybe in that respect, because you don't get to have 1 car every single minute. Then you have the different new modes, like the mission mode, which is basically a series of challenges where you have different sorts of cars and things to do. Obviously, you also have the return of the license center, and if you want to get the gold on all of them, it's going to take you time. But it's a game inside the game, I would say. Not everyone will like it, but it's something that for me reminds me of my younger years and the time I spent into this mode. And I still can do it. Sometimes it takes a bit of while for me to to get the gold, but and sometimes I don't. And well, you know, I just give up and I continue. But getting the bronze is relatively easy. So when you do so and you complete one, you actually can have a car. And if you get the gold, you also have a car. But the missions that I was talking about will put you in different situations, like what you're seeing here. You're driving a Jeep in the in the dark, and you have to finish first if you can. Or like I was showing before, you're driving an old Beetle, and you have to overlap the Volkswagen Combi. Or I can't remember actually how it's called in English. I'm sorry. So it's a lot of things that in a bit are reminiscent of the licenses, because you have to do something and you get a medal for it, but you also get money, and you can win cars, like I said. So it's many things you can do in the single player campaign. Like I said, there's of course the used cars you can buy. The brand central is back. You can purchase new ones there. There's also a place you can buy legend cars. You have your garage where you can obviously change the car you want to drive and look at it in every possible detail and way. GT Auto is back too for maintenance and services. You're also able to customize your car and even your driving gear. The tuning shop is also back, and scapes return too. You can place any of your cars on one of the many pictures taken worldwide and make great pictures. And it's time you can spend outside of the racing and the sort of collector part of the game that I really enjoy myself. And I believe that the fans are actually expecting this sort of content, and so will be pleased. And what else could I tell you? There's so many things, and it's always difficult to remember everything I had ready for you guys. The images I'm showing right from the start are obviously taken from the PS5 version. I will show you the PS4 Pro version in a later segment of the video. And I will talk about the visuals and the ray tracing mode also. Overall, I would say that the single player campaign is full of content. The driving is great. Those who know the series, they know exactly what to expect. So it's not a really big surprise here, but it's really really cool to play with a gamepad. You can actually feel the car, you feel the road, you feel the different types of terrain you're on, like when you're driving on dirt or when it's wet, and it's really what Gran Turismo is all about. So sure, in the beginning you're going to drive slower cars, and sure, some people are going to find it a little too slow, but soon enough you'll get to drive much more interesting cars. And so like this one on Brands Hatch, and it's really a joy to drive, and it's very reactive. The braking is awesome, and again, that's something I'm going to say a lot, especially when I talk about the visuals. But the game looks really good, and it makes the experience even more exciting. So, as I was saying, I'm showing you the PS5 version, and I've only shown you the performance mode, but you should know that the ray tracing reflections are only activated in the ray tracing mode in the replays and the different like cutscenes where you see the cars or the garage or things like that. So I'll show you ray tracing in just a bit, but for now, take a look at the way the lighting is handled. It's very nice. The day-night cycle is very realistic. the different effects. The cars look great. So it's not perfect. There is a bit of pop-in sometimes, like lampposts can appear a bit. It's less obvious than say in Horizon Forbidden West, but it's still something you can see. There's also the LOD that can be seen. That the change in LOD can be seen sometime on the vegetation. And sure, it's a bit of a shame when you have an SSD, but at least the loading times are really short, if not non-existent. And compared to the PS4 version, that's a big thing, because it helps make the overall experience much more fluid, I would say. And as a result, it's more you never get to wait for anything. So it's really you go with the flow, so to speak. And yeah, so aside from the nitpicky things I could say about the visuals, game also sounds very good. And even the music part, the OST is really solid. It's just me, usually I don't use it. I prefer to turn it down, except for the specific replays where you can actually have the music more or less deciding what camera angle it's going to take. And so it's in perfect keeping with the pace of the music. So that's something I like to enjoy too sometimes. And the replays, they look amazing. Especially at 60 FPS, even though they're not always completely steady, so the FPS can actually drop when in 60 FPS mode, and it's a bit of a shame. I guess moments when it happens, it's more when there's rain effects and a lot of cars on screen. In gameplay, it's very smooth on PS5. On Tri Mountain, I actually spotted a few drops, I would say. I didn't check it with our plugin, but I'm pretty sure I saw drops. But it was very rare, and it happens more on PS4 Pro, as far as I can tell. What else can I say? There are different views you can use, obviously. The cockpit view is nice. You can actually tweak it as you like. There's even you can add movement to it, though I would not recommend it, as it sort of made me sick, I think, and I'm not really sensitive to that type of thing. I mean, normally, so maybe I was tired. And other than that, like I said, games looks really nice, and as you'll see, image quality is way better on PS5, sorry, than on PS4 Pro. And it's well, I would say sort of a given in a way, but yeah, the texture filtering is higher quality. Also, shadows and reflections are of higher quality overall. The rain effects are nice. I mean, it's nothing new, but it's always very nice to see the raindrops flowing on the windshield, and also the water on the road. You can barely see in front of you. And the same goes with the dirt races, actually, where you'll see that because of all that dust and dirt, it's very hard to actually see the car in front of you, and it adds a lot of dynamism to the overall racing, I would say, when it happens, and it's a nice touch, and yeah. Say it's not perfect, but look at this. It almost looks photorealistic at times, and even when there's no sunshine, it can be pretty impressive. And it's not always easy to get that right in video games when there's no light from the sun, direct light, and it's very well done. So here, very nice sunset. But I'm going to show you what the ray tracing mode looks like when activated. So here it's the photo mode, so you can see that you can see the reflection of the car. It works on the car, but not on the windows, and obviously that's something you're not going to see as well when the cars are in movement, and it makes sense. But if you look very carefully, depending on the cars you're driving and the cars around you, you're going to be able to see it. Now, obviously, because the console cannot cannot do 4K and ray tracing, replays are locked to 30 FPS, and usually they seem to be steadier than at 60, except like in under heavy rain, and when the grid is full or filled with cars and there's a lot of things going on. I think I happened once when I saw massive slowdowns even at 30 FPS, but again, it adds fidelity. It's not something we need. Gameplay is always going to be without ray tracing, so it's always going to be 60. But yeah, maybe we'll see some kind of performance RT mode somewhere in the next few months or years, who knows. But for now, I would say again, this is a replay with ray tracing, so it's 30 FPS, but it looks very cinematic in a way and TV-like, so to speak. So I think it's a choice, really. So it depends on what you want to see. Actually, I really enjoy the 60 FPS replays. Sometimes they're a bit less smooth than I would like, but usually it's very, very short. I mean, the slowdowns, when the camera angle changes, usually the slowdowns just disappear, and then it's back to 60. But yeah, I can't say that it doesn't look nice with ray tracing and the 30 FPS. It's not really a problem when it's a replay, if you ask me, because like I said, it just looks like TV, so it works. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I've forgotten many things I wanted to cover about the PS5 version, but let's talk about the PS4 version here. So as you can see, maybe, I'm not sure YouTube allows it, but image quality is less crisp for sure. There's also less grass, usually, also fewer spectators on the side of the tracks. So different things that are toned down to actually make it possible for the game to run properly at 60 FPS. Like I said before, there are some slowdowns that I saw more often on PS4 Pro. But overall, the experience is smooth, which is what we need for a racing game. The big difference, I would say, well, actually two big differences for me. The loadings are much longer on PS4 Pro. It's not that bad, but when coming from the PS5 version, it's very strange. You have to wait to get to the next race or to go back to the world map. And the second thing that really actually impressed me is, well, the gamepad is not the same. And you can tell. The DualSense makes it so much more precise to drive. You can feel everything. And the triggers, they're so much better. It feels like, for me now, it's difficult to brake correctly, precisely on with the DualShock 4. And, well, I'm sure those who don't own a PS5 will not mind and they will not see what the problem is. But for me, going from the PS5 version to the PS4 Pro version, I could just say that something was missing. And it's not the rumbling and everything. It's everything. It's the size of the controller. It's the way the triggers work. It's everything. And that is usually when you realize that, well, after all, it's not just a gimmick. It makes the game more enjoyable, and it allows me to feel the car and the road a lot more precisely and to drive better, I think. And if you think that my driving skills are poor on the PS4 Pro footage, that might be because of the controller, or maybe it was just me. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, game looks pretty good. I didn't get to play a lot on PS4 Pro, I have to confess, but still spent a few, I would say maybe 1 to 2 hours total, because I could use my save from the PS5 version, which was great. So, as a conclusion now, because it's time to conclude, isn't it? I would say that it's a relief for the fans of the first episode, Gran Turismo 1 and 2 and 3 even. You spent a lot of time on 3. I remember a whole summer playing Gran Turismo 3 back then. And actually, Gran Turismo 7 is really the GT we've been missing for a long time now, and it's great to see it's back. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be happy. There's a lot of content to enjoy. It looks really, really good. It's not perfect. Really curious to see what Polyphony Digital would be able to do on a PS5 game only. But yeah, again, it's a game that I'm looking forward to keep playing. I'm going to try and see if my CSL Elite wheel that worked on PS4 is compatible on PS5. And I think that's it. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope well, I probably forgot a lot of things I wanted to say, but just don't hesitate to ask in the comments if you need to. So it was Driftwood. Thank you all for watching and listening to me. I will see you very, very soon. Take care.